So this video is going to be a little bit different. So one of the questions that we get is, why England? Are you obsessed with England? Are you obsessed with the UK? What attracted you to the UK? And I think this video will kind of explain it, and we'll try to explain it the best way we can. In 1845, Florida became a state, joining the United States. In 1776, America finally gained its independence from England and became an independent country. In 1607, America had its original colonies from the British Empire. In the 1500s, the English language evolved to what we know it is today. And in 1492, Christopher Columbus sailed the ocean blue and revealed the Americas to Europe. And in 1325, the Aztec Empire rose out of the jungle. In 1271, Marco Polo traveled the Silk Road, finally connecting Asia to Europe. In 1162, Genghis Khan was born and rose the Mongol Empire. And before that, before all of that, there was Oxford.
So when you check in for your tour, they give you this little thing with headphones. There's a couple of places we've been to is give us this, but we was only there to see like a few things, and we didn't get them. But it gives you an option of adult tour or family tour. And I feel like mentally I should take the family tour. Like my mindset, I should probably take the family tour. Let's start out here, I guess, and work our way in, because it starts right here.
Well, the whole reason I wanted to go there was for Harry Potter.
Obviously, that's the only reason we was even there.
I know everyone's gonna be mad about that, but that's what led us there. So don't be mad about it. Be happy that we liked Harry Potter, because we would have maybe not have went there.
Yeah.
But like, as soon as we showed up there, it was like, whoa.
Yeah.
Like, there's so much more. And it just felt like we were in a movie, like our own movie.
Oxford itself, and this is stuff that we didn't know about until going there and researching. Oxford itself, they know that people was learning and studying there as far back as 1069.
Really?
Yes.
1069, okay.
If you've seen our last video, we explored Oxford, the city, but what we're exploring now is what's known as Christ Church. And Christ Church has an amazing history to it. And it's all rabbit holes and butterflies, every single bit of it. And if you don't understand what we mean, I think when we get done with this, you will.
Apparently Oxford is not just one single college, but just multiple colleges. And it is one of those oldest colleges in the world. And it's still an active campus. And as we was walking by, you could hear opera, somebody singing or playing opera from their dorms. Because all around us is dormitories.
Well, I want to say the first thing that we really took notice of was in the realm of literature.
Yeah.
Like, we was dealing with C.S. Lewis and J.R. Tolkien, and you're walking these halls of creativity, and I think that was amazing. I said that in the last video, But then we started getting into the actual history of what that college was. Now, that college is a rabbit hole in itself of what kind of history it is, just like a base off of it. King Henry VIII founded that college, but he actually kind of stole the idea. So the Catholic Church originally had an idea of building some sort of college there. And when he took a split from the Catholic Church, he said, you know what, we're going to build that, but it's going to be a Church of England college.
I think right now we're walking up on an area from Harry Potter. And this is where a lot of conversation happened in the movie. This is kind of the staircase where they would go into the Great Hall.
Side to where the stairs was from the Harry Potter movie. It was like, okay, yes, this is obviously really from the movie. It really looked like the movie. And
Yeah.
that was like really cool to us.
Well, it made me feel comfortable that we wasn't the only ones there for Harry Potter.
Yeah, there was someone there dressed up. Like,
Yeah. There was a lot of people there who was taking that tour for Harry Potter.
Cool about here is we think of Harry Potter, we're so stuck with Harry Potter, but that idea that, the writer for Alice in Wonderland, Tolkien, from Lord of the Rings, The Hobbit, these are the doors and these are the walls. Oxford University is for a majority of what entertains us. They also use, the Lion and the Compass, Narnia was filmed here, X-Men was filmed here, along with Harry Potter.
Yeah, a lot of things.
So a lot of, even though this is, it goes along with it, this place was not only inspired intelligence, but it inspired creativity, unbelievable.
This place is magical.
This place has created a lot of the magic that's in our life past Harry Potter.
The Great Hall is really cool.
Yeah.
One thing that I did not know about the Great Hall, or that I learned from Oxford, from the Harry Potter movies, that I thought was just something whimsical, was how all the pictures was hanging around.
Yeah.
So you know how you have all the pictures around it, in the Harry Potter that talk and everything? I was unaware that that was actually a thing in the colleges. So you see all these pictures just hanging around in the Great Hall, and it was magnificent looking.
Yeah, it was. And like walking in there and walking in that staircase and that hall, it was just like mind blown, because like, the movie and all that, but like you could feel like the greatness of the place.
Yeah, you could.
And like it made you wanted to stay there, like you wanted to have a reason to be there, because like me personally, I felt like if I stayed there long enough, like had a real purpose of being there, like maybe something really cool would happen, because like it sparked so much creativity and so much inspiration.
There was people in comments in our last video that was saying stuff, and you could hear the pride in their voice.
Yeah.
It's like, my grandchild or my child right now is going to Oxford University, and you should be absolutely ecstatic that your child goes there.
Like, I want to go to school there.
Yeah. But let's back out of the Great Hall, and we're back in the stairwell. If you look to your right in one of these frames, you're going to see a door. Now this, I didn't realize how important this door was until we did a little research on it, because it was just graffiti. And I noticed this old graffiti, right? There's this thing about British people, and this thing about Oxford just It just seems like the home of the enlightened and the creative mind. And what you're going to see on this door is something that just seems out of place. But it was a catalyst. It was a butterfly. You see on the door, you see no Peel. And that was in regards to Robert Peel, who was a former student at Christ Church. And he went on to be prime minister. But the reason that that was on that door is because during that time, there was such a hate towards Catholics during that time. You can actually read the history of J.R.R. Tolkien, and he refers to the hate of growing up Catholic in a British Church of England society. And Robert Peel, even though he wasn't Catholic himself, he's seen the means of saying, okay, we don't let Catholics run, we don't let Catholics vote, we don't let Catholics do anything. And, you know, we have Ireland over here that is predominantly Catholic. If we don't do something about this, we're going to lose the support. It's going to create a divide in this country that we don't need. We need to look at Catholics like they are normal people.
Yeah.
That have normal rights. And some people was not a fan of that. And written in that wall, right there, is evidence of somebody taking a stand saying, treat this person like like a human. Give them rights. Not long after that, slavery was abolished in the UK. And one of the things that Britain does is influence the world, even at that time. And if you do any research, you'll say one of the biggest influence on the Emancipation Proclamation in the United States was the fact that Britain did it first. So you're looking at the door of no Peel, of the enlightened minds that come from Oxford, that started looking up and saying, you know, we need to start treating people like people. And that butterfly wing went. And it created a change in the world. And that's a little piece of graffiti on that door is evidence that stuff like that happened. So when you walk through Christ Church, you walk through the doors and you find yourself in Oxford Cathedral. Now, it wasn't always Oxford Cathedral. Actually, talking to the people inside, the term history built on history is that's the example of this church.
It was created in the 8th century, and there's a couple of really cool spots, like these arches right here. These ones are from the original structure of the 18th century, and as more as that Renaissance and Gothic period came, these more arches that was built more to a point, like directly above us, but more to a point, they came in.
I'm sorry, this cathedral, people get mad when I say, but originally it wasn't a cathedral. And even by the arches, and we was talking to people and they said, you can tell by the way the arch is designed that this was built in the 8th century. And then the more Gothic or the more, you know, don't quote me on it, but they said, so now you see the pointer sides was later on. So we see a building that was constructed. And then we see that it was done again in the 19th century. So it was originally a Saxon abbey, I believe. You can quote me if I'm wrong. Saint Friedsworth. You guys are going to kill me on this, but it was Saint Friedsworth. And she was an amazing saint. the stories go that she was going to marry a Saxon prince, and she did not want to. And she ran to the town of Oxford to get away from him. And when she got to the town of Oxford, she was walking around and she seen the people walk through the gate that was looking for her. And she jumped down and hid. She jumped down and hid. And she prayed to God to protect her. And as soon as them people walked through the gates of Oxford, they went blind. So there's so many stories surrounding this saint, that she created a well of life, and they call it the treacle well. And it would flash forward into more modern novels. When you read Alice in Wonderland, it refers to the treacle well. So he was inspired by these things. And what made this amazing, and what kind of blew me away, is we're walking around and now we see this
Grave.
Here's why you can't call it like her grave, right? So through when she was put there in a priory, I think it's called it was originally St. Freed, which maybe a priory. They put her remains in there and some of her relics, and the royals had a fascination with this.
Yeah.
Right? So the royals had a fascination with this. So they would take some, out of anger, would have took the bones and threw it down a well, and then some took it out for some particular purpose. Like there's so many different times that body was exhumed from that site. So even that site, where it is right now, isn't actually where it was supposedly was, but there is bones there. Do we know if it's the original saint? No, we don't. But we do know there's something there that they found and brought back. And originally, kings and queens would bring this. Now, it's a rabbit hole to go down, because this really, you don't understand how important she was and how it affected
Well, they probably didn't understand.
Well, you guys do, but this is from us knowing of her great healing powers. Catherine of Aragon, King Henry VIII's first wife, would pray there. And if you know anything about King Henry VIII's first wife, they had a couple of children and it didn't work out for different reasons. Maybe one day we'll go into that. So, one of the most important things for a king to do, very first thing they should do when they become a king, is create an heir. So you have Catherine, who is just freaking out. She's not doing her job as a queen, and so one thing. So she's going to, and this is how I have it pictured in my mind. I have a very vivid imagination, that I'm sitting there thinking to myself, Catherine is begging and praying for something to change, while Anne Boleyn is waiting in the wings. She's waiting to take her place. And King Henry VIII is just wanting a way out. So while she's sitting there praying, everything about us, what's going to happen is that butterfly is going to flap its wings. And everything that we know and everything that could have been is going to change. If you're unfamiliar with the butterfly effect is the idea that a butterfly flaps its wings in Africa, and that wind picks up and hits the ocean, warms, creates a hurricane, and destroys a town in the United States. Cause and effect. So when we're sitting there by that tomb, we're witnessing the cause and effect of humanity. King Henry VIII doesn't get a child from her. He gets tired, or he gets upset, or he gets nervous, because that's a whole rabbit hole in itself.
Yeah.
But was King Henry VIII really that bad of a person, or just his life made him that bad? which is a whole different rabbit hole to go down. But that moment of her praying for some type of divine intervention that does not come through. Well, King Henry VIII separates from the church so he can marry Anne Boleyn, creates the Church of England. The Church of England has a great reform, creates other denominations. Some of them go back to Catholic, creates an Anglo-Catholicism. A couple of guys sitting in that same church breaks off and creates the Methodist Church. That separation from Catholicism happens. People like Robert Peel see the divide and say, hey, this is not going to happen. And then people become conscious of what we're doing to other people because they're different. Enlightened thinkers happen. And then all of a sudden, these same people who graduated from these halls of Oxford University look up and say, you know what? Men are created equal. And slavery ends in the UK, then slavery ends in the United States, and the whole world transforms. Because I don't think the butterfly flapped its wings in Africa. I think the butterfly flapped its wing in Oxford. And that idea that it's so much changed, that we walk these walls of not only of people like J.R.R. Tolkien, like Alice in Wonderland, that shaped our childhood, shaped fairy tales. When you're walking the streets of Oxford, you're walking the people who shaped the world, because it's nothing but rabbit holes and butterflies.
That church is absolutely amazing, but all of Oxford is. Kind of surprised me how cool Oxford was. I wasn't expecting that. So many famous people coming from Oxford. I think we already listed them all off, but what'd you think?
I thought it was amazing. I definitely say it was probably one of the most beautiful places I've ever been. Like, I went there strictly for Harry Potter, but found and seen so much more.
Yeah.
I thought it was really, really cool place.
So much more to the UK that we want to explore because it's such a small spot, and people saying, come here and see this, come here and see that. And I think one of the obsessions that we have with the UK is how it shaped the world.
Yeah, like we end up falling into, we go for one reason or another, whether it's something stupid, someone told us, or we just happen upon it.
Yeah.
And then we end up finding out so much information, or how so like
important.
And yeah, like so many important things happen in one spot, or it all just keeps going, pulling you in more and more.
And the idea that so much stuff can spawn off a small place.
Yeah.
Ideas, the idea that our childhood, when we was in Camden, we never talked about it, but when we was in Camden, we're we're not driving, but the bus driver's driving, and we're looking up what's important about Camden. They're like, oh, Christmas Carol based in Camden.
Mm-hmm.
Everything we know is shaped around the UK. It's such an important part of our life that we didn't know. And that's why I like the idea of what do I think of when I think of the UK? Rabbit holes and butterflies, because there's so many rabbit holes that you can crawl down. And everything seems like that butterfly just flapped its wings and just shaped how we live today. It's all cause and effect in the UK. And it's just an amazing place to explore. Christchurch was an amazing place to explore.
It was beautiful and amazing.
Yeah. That was the last video of our full London vlogs. I hope we didn't disappoint you guys. I hope that you guys find that we're stupid but learning.
Yeah.
I hope you guys find that out. And real quick, I want to thank our Patreons who has decided to help support this channel so they can see more of us learning, because I don't think we're a reaction channel. We're a learning channel. It's just you guys are watching us learn. You guys are watching us find, I don't know, roots or truth or just educated, you know.
I
I'm
know.
reading the history of ancient Britain, and I might talk about that on our Patreon page a little bit, kind of break that down, see if anybody else has read it. So if you guys want to join that, go ahead. If you guys want to support the channel, we thank you a lot. If not, you can check out our Discord page. You can always talk to us on our Discord page. If you have something to add in, if you have your thoughts or anything like that, please leave it down below. But with that, I am Rich.
And I'm Tiffany.
And this is just the beginning.
So we are going to London.
We are going to London.